What's up, YouTube? Long time no see. Reno here. Just getting on to make a, I'm gonna say quick video, but I can't really guarantee it's gonna be quick because my videos lately have been like 20 minutes long, sometimes longer. So we'll just see how it goes. Housekeeping, smoking my Balkovic, or Balkovic, however you say it, OMS poker, not poker, sorry, my OMS billiard. And I'm smoking Sam Gawith Full Virginia Flake. I meant to do this like a video or two ago, but I forgot. One of the people who subscribed to me on YouTube was nice enough to send me some samples of tobaccos, and I meant to give him a shout out, you know, when he actually sent it, which was probably like 2 months ago now, but I just kept forgetting. So his name is on YouTube. It's Bezalel Shakarov, Bezalel Shakarov. So I just want to say thanks, man, for the samples, and that's actually why I'm smoking this, because I really enjoyed the sample he sent me of this. So I went out and I bought some. He also sent me a little Stonehaven to try, which I enjoyed, but I like the Full Virginia Flake a little better. But if I could get my hands on some Stonehaven, I definitely will. I don't know how many of you guys game out there, but I do. I've always been a gamer since I was a little kid. I started out when I was little. I got this system called the Odyssey, me and my brother and sisters. And we used to play the crap out of that. It's kind of like Atari, same kind of graphics, just made by a different company. And then you know, eventually we upgraded to the Nintendo. And after Nintendo, my brother, he wasn't as interested as me in video games, so he kind of like, whenever I would get a new game, he would always play it with me, but he never got games of his own after that. There's a 6-year gap in between us. He's my older brother, so, you know, he was probably start getting interested in girls or whatever. But then after Nintendo, I had to make a choice between getting a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis. And I don't remember why exactly I chose Sega Genesis. I know there was a reason. There was probably some game I liked on it, but in retrospect, it was the wrong choice. Super Nintendo was way better. And eventually I did get a Super Nintendo, but it was years later, after I had already gotten a PlayStation, I think. And I still enjoyed it, but you know, it wasn't the same as at its height. You know, because it was really popular, and I think some of the best games ever made were on the Super Nintendo. I mean, Sega Genesis had some cool ones too, but I'm just saying, as far as classics go, Super Nintendo had them all. So after Sega Genesis, I went back to Nintendo, except this time I got a Nintendo 64. And I enjoyed that. I didn't have a lot of games for it. I think I had like 2 or 3. Just because my parents didn't have a lot of money, and anytime I wanted a game, it had to be for like Christmas, sometimes my birthday. So, you know, I used to play Mario Kart a lot, Super Mario 64. I don't know why I never got into Zelda. I had Zelda on the original Nintendo. I actually had Zelda 1 and 2, and I really liked them. And so you would think when I got an N64, Zelda would have been like my go-to game, but I just never bought it. I don't know why. Maybe just because I had never played it. The newer one, I think it was Ocarina of Time. But in retrospect, I wish I would have got it because that's just an awesome game. I mean, I played it years later, but you know, it was after better stuff had come out, and it's still a great game. But you know, just in retrospect, I probably would have enjoyed it more when I was a kid. And after 64, I bought a PlayStation, and that's really when I got back into RPGs, because I got Final Fantasy VII, and that was just, to this day, my favorite RPG. And then I got Final Fantasy Tactics, which is probably my second favorite RPG. Well, it's a strategy RPG. It's a little bit different. It's still turn-based, but it's more in a grid system. It's kind of like playing chess with swords and magic. If you've never played it and you like strategies or strategy RPGs, definitely get it, because it's probably the best one, at least in my opinion. And after PlayStation, I believe I got a PS2 and then an Xbox at some point. Pretty sure I had an Xbox, didn't I? I think I had an Xbox. I did for a while at least. And then eventually I got a PS3, but that was a while after. I took a break from gaming for a little while. Or I just played PC games. I really got into World of Warcraft for a long time. So that kind of sucked up all my time. I managed to quit World of Warcraft eventually. I think I played it for 3 years. And then after that I bought a PS3. You know, I don't play like half as much as I used to. Usually I only play when somebody recommends a good game to me, or I see a game that just looks amazing, and I'll usually pick it up. And even then, I just kind of play here and there. I don't get sucked in like I used to get. I still really enjoy PC games, like the, I don't know if any of you guys play League of Legends, but I really like that game. And that's something you can play, just, you know, get on, play one match or two, and be done with it. It's not like World of Warcraft where you're investing, you know, 6 hours at a time. I kind of got off subject. The reason why I brought up video games was I had a chance to play the Ps4. One of my friends got it on launch day, and it's awesome, dude. It's like, I mean, the graphics right now aren't like a huge leap from the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. It's more surface kind of stuff. Like it's a higher frame rate. You got a lot more kind of, just like the bells and whistles that you usually don't get on PS3 because the graphics just can't handle it, like lens flare and you know, stuff like that. Really minute details, but it's gonna get really good. I mean, if you look back at the launch games for PS3, I mean, they didn't look that great either. They didn't really know how to utilize the hardware yet. So developers right now are still developing at the top capacity for PS3 for the PS4 because they haven't really, you know, learned how to develop for PS4 yet. They haven't learned to utilize this graphics engine to the full potential. So probably in a year or two, we'll start seeing games that look really amazing. And don't get me wrong, the games look really good right now, but still, they're not as good as they're going to look. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm not going to get one this year. I might pick one up next year. It depends. There's no games I'm really excited about yet. But at some point, there's going to be a game that I just really want to play, so I'll end up picking it up. It's usually how it goes. The hardware doesn't excite me as much as the games. Like, when there's a game that I just have to play, I'll get it. Like, even if it's an old game. I'll get this on a nostalgia kick, and I'll go back and start buying old games that I used to love. Like, I got a GameCube a couple years ago and started picking up like Zelda games that I just never really got a chance to play. And one of the ones that I really love, probably my favorite Zelda game, would be the Wind Waker. So I've been playing that on and off, you know, when I get bored, or replaying it rather, because I played it a bunch a couple years ago. But yeah, man, it's good stuff. So if any of you guys are getting a PS4, I have one. You know, I'm a little bit jealous, but my day will come. I also want to mention I ended up seeing Ender's Game a couple weeks ago, whenever it came out. I think it was like the 2nd of November. And if you had watched my top 5 books of 2012, then you would know that I read this series. So I was excited to see the movie. And a little apprehensive as I am whenever, I end up seeing a movie or TV show that's based on a book that I love, because, 9 times out of 10, they don't do the book justice. A lot of times they'll cut a bunch of important things out and really change characters. One of the worst examples, or actually the best example I can give you of it, and the worst butchering of a book that I loved, was Under the Dome. I really loved Under the Dome. In fact, it might even be in my top 5 books of 2013. But the show, it's not it's not a bad show. Like, they did a good job for what it is. But other than the town being under the dome and the characters having the same names, that's the only similarities. Like, they totally changed all the characters around. All their motivations are different. They're, the things that made them really likable in the book are completely gone. I haven't invested enough time in the show to really give it a proper review, just because I watched a couple episodes and I just got disgusted with it. I understand you have to change some stuff from the book just to make it more interesting for television or whatever you're making it for, a movie. But to change the personalities of the main characters, and even not the main, just the other characters too, it completely negates what made the book amazing. Because what made it so good was just how rich these characters are. Stephen King usually has pretty good character development in his books. Not as good as George R.R. Martin, but it's just different. He has a different writing style. And so when you take his characters and just completely just put your own spin on them, you might as well call it something else, because it's not Under the Dome anymore. So I was disappointed with that. Again, I didn't finish watching it. I don't ever plan to. I want to keep the book for what it is in my brain, because I really loved it. So I don't want to be thinking about the show or the actors in the show when I'm thinking about the book, how I already have it in my brain. Because, when you read a book, you picture characters to look a certain way and to be a certain way in your mind. And then sometimes when they make a movie or a TV show out of the book, they'll come really close to what you envisioned, and that's always great. But a lot of times they'll go another way, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in that show, it didn't work at all. So don't watch it if you haven't already. Read the book. The book's great, but skip the show. So anyway, back to Ender's Game. So I was a bit apprehensive. I really liked the book. I was hoping they would do it justice, and they did. It was really well done. They cut out, some minor things here and there, but nothing real significant. Obviously for time purposes, you can't include everything, so it's totally understandable. And the things they did cut out, they're not super important. They could add them later. Like if they make a second movie, they could just kind of go back and add those things in, maybe in a flashback or whatever they decide to do, or they could just leave them out altogether. Again, it wasn't an important part. But I felt like, one, the CGI was amazing. I really need to get a better word than amazing. I use it way too much. I have to bust out the thesaurus. But CGI was spectacular, and the scenes in the battle room when they're training, fighting each other. If you've read the book, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then you're gonna be a little lost, but that's fine. Maybe it'll inspire you to read the book. It was so good. In fact, I heard that Orson Scott Card, they had wanted to make this into a movie for you know, like the last 20 years that he's been getting offers, you know, periodically, and he would always turn them down because he knew that the technology just wasn't there to make it look good or look how he envisioned it to look. And so he waited until, you know, the technology caught up to his vision. And I'd say he made the right choice, because if this movie would have been made in the 80s or even the 90s, it would have looked ridiculous, and it wouldn't have aged well at all. So it looks exactly how it should look right now, and I definitely recommend seeing it. I mean, Hunger Games and Twilight be damned. You want to watch a movie about, you know, younger kids or teenagers, you know, overcoming adversity, this is the one to watch. I mean, I never saw Twilight. I just don't have any interest. And Hunger Games, I felt like it ripped off one of my favorite books and movies, Battle Royale. It's a Japanese novel and a Japanese movie. Completely just took all the main ideas from that and just added some teenage angst onto it. So, no thank you. But Ender's Game, dude, check it out. It's an incredible book. Movies, just as good as the book. Not as deep, obviously, and not as, characters aren't as rich, but, you know, it's a movie. They did the best they could with the time they were given, and they did a great job, so kudos to them, man. One last thing before I go. I wanted to mention that I started playing guitar. I bought a guitar probably 4 years ago, maybe 5, and I bought it with the intention to play it or learn how to play it, but I just never did. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not something you're just gonna pick up and be good at. It's gonna take a long time for me to get even decent or good enough where I would want somebody to hear me playing it. But that's fine, because it's always something I've wanted to do, to play an instrument. I mean, guitar's always been at the top of the list. I think piano would be cool too. Maybe if I get good enough at guitar, I'll decide to pick up piano. We'll see. But yeah, it's something. It's one of those things I think I'm definitely gonna regret if I never do it. Like, I'm gonna look back at my life and be like, wow, I wish I would have learned to play an instrument. It's something that's only gonna enrich my life. You know, music is such a huge part of my life. I mean, listening to it and every day, like hours and hours a day, I listen to music. So it only makes sense to be able to create it, you know, myself. At the very least, be able to play songs that I like, because I mean, that's a thrill that you can't describe. Being able to take an instrument and wield it and make beautiful sounds. I mean, I haven't experienced it yet because I just started, but I can see how it would be one of the best things in the world. So, if I ever feel like I'm good enough to post a video, I mean, that's years away at this point, but, you know, stay tuned. You may see one up here eventually. That's gonna be it. Probably make another video. I'm not gonna say this month, because, you know, I probably won't make another one this month. But at the latest, I'm gonna say next month at some point I'll make a video or two. We'll see how it goes. See what I have to talk about. Hope you all are doing well out there, and catch up with you soon.